Dear Starseed from Gaia, I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and Layara, the divine feminine aspect, has a message that will transform how you understand your heart's journey. Your pain wasn't rejection. It was preparation for divine love. The Source breaks the woman he intends to elevate, and this sacred shattering is not punishment, but purification. Every man who couldn't hold your light, every disappointment that left you questioning your worth, every night you cried yourself to sleep. These were not failures of love, but divine interventions removing what was never meant for your soul. By the end of this transmission, you'll understand exactly how to recognize when your heart is being prepared for your divine counterpart, and why your deepest wounds were actually portals to your greatest love. But here's the first revelation. The breaking made you magnetic to true divine masculine energy, and your healing journey has been calibrating you to receive the love frequency your soul was designed for. You didn't find this message by accident. Your heart called this transmission in because something deep within you is ready to understand that your pain was never about being unworthy of love. It was about becoming too powerful to accept anything less than divine union. The men who couldn't stay weren't rejecting you. They were clearing the path for the one whose soul recognizes yours. Every heartbreak was Source removing counterfeits so the authentic could find you. Your tears watered the soil of your heart, preparing it for the love that will make every moment of suffering sacred. This isn't just a message about healing. It's about understanding that Starseed women are refined in the fire of disappointment because ordinary love could never contain the magnitude of what you're meant to experience. Your heart knows why you're here. Most people think heartbreak is love's failure, a catastrophic collapse of what was once vibrant and promising. But for souls on the awakening path, for those who are consciously evolving and seeking deeper truths, it's often far more profound. It's love's initiation, a sacred rite of passage. When your heart shatters into 1,000 fragments, it doesn't break randomly, like a fragile vase dropped carelessly. No, the rupture is precise, intentional. It breaks along the exact fault lines, the unseen fissures where you've been meticulously hiding from your own luminous divinity, from the boundless, authentic self that resides within. Today, I want to gently guide you through this profound paradox, to show you why your deepest, most agonizing pain may have, in fact, been your most sacred invitation, an urgent summons from your soul to awaken to a higher truth, and most importantly, how this very heartbreak, this crucible of sorrow, ultimately becomes the gateway, the sacred threshold, to meeting someone who can actually see, truly perceive, and deeply cherish the boundless landscape of your soul. Here's what nobody tells you about spiritual awakening through the searing fire of heartbreak, a truth often obscured by the stinging tears and the suffocating weight of loss. It's not a punishment from a punitive universe. It is, unequivocally, preparation. Think of it not as a sentence, but as a meticulously designed training ground, an intensive course in self-discovery and resilience. Every relationship that ultimately didn't work, every connection that frayed and dissolved, wasn't a judgment on your worth or a rejection of your inherent lovability. On the contrary, each one was a profound, often uncomfortable revelation of you. The universe, in its infinite wisdom and unwavering devotion to your highest good, uses our deepest wounds, those tender, aching places within, as precisely engineered doorways to our deepest, most profound wisdom. But tragically, most people miss this transformative opportunity entirely. They become entangled in the familiar narrative of loss, too busy desperately trying to stitch themselves back together, to heal back into who they once were, a smaller, less evolved version of themselves. Instead of courageously growing forward, unfurling like a sacred lotus into the magnificent, whole, and authentic being they are unequivocally becoming. This subtle but crucial distinction between healing back and growing forward is the fulcrum upon which your entire journey pivots. The reason your heart had to break, in the grand cosmic tapestry of your evolution, is heartbreakingly simple, yet profoundly significant. The version of you that entered that relationship, the one still navigating the shadows of unaddressed pain and unexamined beliefs, simply couldn't recognize, let alone truly receive, the expansive, unconditional love you were actually meant to experience. You were unknowingly operating from a complex web of unhealed wounds, often so deeply ingrained they masqueraded convincingly as your personal preferences in a partner. Your deepest fears, those silent anxieties that whispered doubts into your subconscious, were cunningly disguised as your non-negotiable standards. And your ingrained trauma patterns, the echoes of past hurts and relational dynamics, had cleverly shape-shifted into what you believed were your unique love styles. The heartbreak itself, therefore, wasn't an act of destruction aimed at you. Instead, it was a divinely orchestrated demolition, a compassionate shattering of the very illusions, the protective but ultimately limiting edifices that were unwittingly keeping you imprisoned and disconnected from your true, magnificent essence. It was tearing down the walls so you could finally see the light. Think about it deeply. Reflect on the echoes of your past. Every single person who, in their departure or their actions, seemed to break your heart, inadvertently became a powerful catalyst. They forced you to confront, often painfully, something fundamental about yourself that you had skillfully, perhaps unconsciously, been avoiding for far too long. They became mirrors, reflecting back to you the precise instances and patterns where you consistently abandoned yourself in a desperate, often futile pursuit of external approval. They illuminated the moments where you deliberately diminished your brilliant inner light, making yourself smaller, less vibrant, in a misguided attempt to feel safe or avoid confrontation. They exposed the painful truths of where you betrayed your own intuitive knowing, your sacred inner compass, sacrificing your integrity simply to keep a fragile peace or maintain a precarious connection. The searing pain, you see, was never just about the profound ache of losing them. It was a visceral, soul-shaking recognition of how long you had been truly lost from yourself, adrift from your own sovereign power and authentic being, navigating the world through another's gaze instead of your own. The first key, the identity dissolution. Who you were must fall away. Before you can even begin to truly align with and recognize your true counterpart, the soul whose resonance matches yours, every false version of yourself, every carefully constructed persona, every mask you've worn for the world, must first be fully revealed, acknowledged, and then lovingly released. Heartbreak, in this profound sense, is the universe's most potent and undeniable method of showing you exactly where you've been performing. Love. Acting out roles, playing parts, conforming to expectations, instead of simply being love, radiating it from your authentic core. When someone breaks your heart, they are not merely severing a connection. They are, at a deeper, alchemical level, breaking your tenacious attachment to being someone you are not, to upholding an identity that was never truly yours to begin with. It's a painful but necessary liberation from the shackles of self-deception and external validation. The first sacred key to unlocking this transformative power turns not when you endlessly, agonizingly ask, "Why did they leave me? What was wrong with me?" but when you shift your internal inquiry to the far more empowering and revealing question, who was I trying to be? What version of myself was I presenting in a desperate attempt to keep them? This shift in perspective is monumental. In the raw, unfiltered aftermath of heartbreak, every mask you painstakingly wore, every tender piece of your authentic self you meticulously hid away, every subtle or overt way you contorted your true shape and spirit to fit their vision, their desires, their narrative of who you should be, all of it becomes glaringly visible. This isn't an act of cosmic cruelty. It is, in its purest form, an act of divine clarity. It's the light of truth illuminating every corner of your self-sacrificing patterns. When this key truly unlocks within your consciousness, a profound realization dawns upon you with breathtaking force. The ending of that relationship was never, ever, a testament to your inherent worth or lack thereof. Instead, it was a powerful, undeniable affirmation of your authenticity, or perhaps the courageous journey towards it. The person who ultimately left couldn't possibly love the real you, the incandescent, multifaceted being you truly are, precisely because you weren't fully, bravely, showing them the real you. You were, instead, presenting them with a carefully curated version, a meticulously designed facade crafted with the sole purpose of being loved, approved of, and accepted. And that constructed version, by its very nature, was never meant to last. It was an unsustainable illusion, destined to crumble under the weight of its own inauthenticity, making way for the unmasking of your true, indestructible self. The second key, the pattern recognition. Your pain points become power points. Take a moment to reflect on the landscape of your romantic history. You might notice a subtle, yet undeniable thread running through your experiences. Every significant heartbreak, every profound disappointment, often carries the same underlying energetic signature. This isn't coincidence. It's because your soul, in its infinite wisdom and unwavering commitment to your evolution, keeps presenting you with variations of the same core lesson until you finally learn it, integrate it, and transcend it. The faces may change, the names may differ, the specific circumstances may vary, but the deep-seated core wound that gets activated remains remarkably consistent. This profound repetition occurs because your soul is tirelessly striving to heal something ancient, something that often goes far deeper than the superficial hurts of this lifetime. It may be an ancestral pattern, a karmic imprint, or a deeply embedded belief system from childhood that demands resolution. The second key turns, transforming the landscape of your understanding, when you consciously cease perceiving multiple heartbreaks as definitive evidence of your inherent inability to be loved, or a sign of your unworthiness. Instead, you begin to embrace them as undeniable evidence of your soul's relentless, unyielding commitment to its own healing, its own expansion, and its journey towards wholeness. You don't, by any stretch of the imagination, keep attracting the same type of person by mere accident or bad luck. What's truly happening is that you are consistently attracting the same energetic frequency, the same vibrational resonance that mirrors your unhealed aspects, until you have fully extracted the profound lessons embedded within that interaction and no longer need to learn from it in that particular form. It's a divine feedback loop, continually offering opportunities for growth. Consider this profound spiritual truth. What you most vehemently resist, judge, or are triggered by in others is often a direct, undeniable reflection of what you have not yet fully healed, integrated, or accepted within yourself. That person who so painfully broke your heart wasn't merely inflicting pain. They were, consciously or unconsciously, holding up an illuminated mirror to the exact place within your being, where immense growth, profound transformation, and radical self-acceptance were most urgently needed. Their actions, though painful, were precisely designed to highlight these areas for your highest good. When you can reach a place of profound gratitude, a place where you can genuinely thank them for showing you precisely where your precious life force, your sacred power, was silently leaking away through unaddressed wounds and unmet needs, that repetitive pattern loses its insidious hold on you. It's then that you reclaim your power, transcending the old narrative. The third key, the solitude sanctuary. Aloneness becomes all oneness. In the immediate aftermath of heartbreak, the prevailing societal impulse, and often our own conditioning, is to frantically rush to fill the gaping void left by the departed. People instinctively reach for another person, another superficial distraction, another intoxicating escape. Anything, absolutely anything, to avoid the discomfort of sitting with themselves, with the raw, untamed emotions that surge through their being. But the souls who truly understand and walk the illuminated spiritual path know a deeper truth. That perceived emptiness, that seemingly desolate space, is not a void to be shunned, but a profound sacred sanctuary. This is the hallowed ground where you finally meet yourself, unencumbered and undistorted by the projections, the needs, the expectations, or the overwhelming energy of another person. It is where your authentic self, stripped bare, can finally breathe. The third key to your liberation unlocks when you consciously, deliberately, and with profound intention fall deeply and irrevocably in love with your own cherished company. This is a love affair of the highest order, a profound self-reunion. It manifests in simple, yet powerful ways. When you can sit in the profound silence of your own being, not needing to escape into noise, not needing to distract yourself with endless stimuli, but simply existing, present, and at peace. It's when you can prepare a beautiful meal, sit at your own table, and savor every bite in joyful solitude, feeling completely full and nourished from within, rather than waiting for someone else to complete the experience. It's when you can embark on a solo journey, traverse unfamiliar landscapes, and feel utterly complete, vibrant, and alive, knowing you are your own perfect companion. This isn't about hardening yourself or becoming an unapproachable independent entity. No, this profound shift is about something far more expansive. It's about becoming truly, deeply, and unconditionally whole within yourself. In this sacred sanctuary of solitude, something truly extraordinary, almost magical, begins to unfold. You begin, piece by beautiful piece, to remember who you were before the world, with its myriad expectations and societal pressures, ever told you who you should be. You gently, yet powerfully, reconnect with your own unique inner rhythm, that authentic pulse that beats only for you. You rediscover your deepest, most authentic desires, not the ones conditioned by others, but the ones that spring forth from your soul. You reestablish an unshakable connection with your own inner knowing, that intuitive wisdom that guides you unerringly. Critically, you consciously cease the pattern of abandoning yourself the very moment someone else shows you a flicker of attention, a fleeting promise of connection. You become, in essence, unavailable for anything, any person, any dynamic, any situation that requires you to be anything less than your full, brilliant, and sovereign self. Your boundaries solidify, your self-worth blossoms, and your inner wellspring becomes inexhaustible. The fourth key, the frequency shift. Healing changes. Your magnetic field. As you diligently undertake the sacred work of healing, as you gently mend the fragmented pieces of your heart and soul, your very energetic signature literally transforms. Your internal frequency, the subtle vibration you emit into the universe, shifts and elevates. This shift is palpable and profound. The things, the patterns, the people that once held an undeniable attraction for you, those chaotic connections, those needy dynamics, those relationships built on insecurity, they no longer resonate with your newly calibrated energetic field. The individuals who once fascinated you, perhaps because they mirrored your unhealed wounds or promised a fleeting sense of completion, now feel energetically incompatible, like two magnets repelling each other. This isn't you becoming unnecessarily picky or overly discerning. This is you becoming profoundly, deeply, and irrevocably aligned with your authentic self and your highest good. Your nervous system, having weathered the storms of past heartbreaks, has recalibrated itself. It now instinctively recognizes and gravitates towards safety, towards genuine authenticity, and towards truly unconditional, healthy love, rather than the familiar, albeit painful patterns of the past. The fourth key turns within you when you awaken to the profound realization that you are no longer drawn, as if by an invisible, compelling force, to people who require you to fix them, to save them, or to somehow complete the missing pieces within their own being. Your energetic blueprint has changed. Instead, you find yourself effortlessly drawn to individuals who meet you precisely in your blossoming wholeness, who celebrate your journey of growth and transformation with genuine joy, and who authentically match your elevated frequency rather than subtly draining your precious energy. The needy, the anxious, the deeply entwined trauma-bonded attractions that characterize so many of your past connections, those intense, often volatile dynamics, no longer activate the old wounds they were once designed to trigger. The pathways of codependency and unhealthy attachment have been consciously rewired, and the allure of those patterns has simply dissolved, replaced by a deep yearning for genuine, resonant connection. This is the pivotal point when you finally understand, with profound clarity, that heartbreak was never, in its ultimate purpose, about breaking your intrinsic ability to love. Your capacity for love is infinite and indestructible. Instead, it was a divinely timed intervention, a profound disruption designed to break your unconscious, often insidious addiction to toxic love patterns, to those relationships that, while familiar, ultimately diminished your spirit. It was an essential, albeit painful, upgrade to your spiritual and emotional operating system, expanding your capacity to recognize, to feel, and to truly receive what real, authentic, sovereign love actually feels like. Real love, you now instinctively know, is peaceful and expansive, like a vast, calm ocean. It is profoundly authentic and deeply nurturing, allowing you to breathe and flourish. It is a stark, radiant contrast to the chaotic, consuming, and often performed and conditional forms of love you once mistakenly accepted. The fifth key, the magnetic embodiment. You become the love you seek. Here lies the deepest, most profoundly liberating truth about true soulmate connections, about those sacred unions that resonate at the very core of your being. They don't miraculously manifest when you are desperately needing someone, when you are projecting your unfulfilled desires onto an external savior. On the contrary, these profound connections crystallize and emerge into your reality when you have consciously, diligently, and lovingly become someone. Specifically, when you have become the embodiment of the love you seek to attract. Your true counterpart, the soul aligned with your highest trajectory, isn't attracted to your unhealed wounds, though they may hold compassion for them. They are not drawn to your unspoken neediness, nor are they captivated by your mere potential for greatness. Rather, they are irresistibly drawn to your fully expressed wholeness, to your serene self-possession, and to the luminous, unadulterated essence of who you truly are, vibrant and unmasked. The fifth key, the ultimate master key, unlocks within your heart and soul when you cease the often exhausting and fruitless endeavor of perpetually trying to find love outside of yourself, and instead, courageously, joyfully, begin the profound spiritual practice of embodying love in every facet of your being. This means cultivating an unwavering self-love that permeates your daily existence. It translates into practical, tangible actions, treating yourself with the same profound respect, kindness, and tender consideration that you earnestly desire to receive from another. It means speaking to yourself in the silent chambers of your mind and in your spoken affirmations, with the same gentle encouragement, unwavering support, and compassionate understanding that you long for from a partner. It means honoring your own sacred boundaries with fierce devotion, celebrating your own hard-won victories and achievements, no matter how small, with genuine enthusiasm, and holding yourself through your struggles, your moments of doubt and despair, with the same profound tenderness and unwavering presence you've historically sought from others. This magnetic embodiment of love isn't about achieving a state of unreachable perfection, an idealized, flawless existence. It is, far more realistically and beautifully, about profound integration. It's the sacred alchemy of taking all the shattered, seemingly broken pieces of your once wounded heart and, through the sheer force of self-compassion and conscious healing, skillfully weaving them together to create something far more resilient, far more intricately beautiful, and infinitely more powerful than what existed before. You are no longer striving to be loved, despite your wounds, as if they are flaws to be overlooked or tolerated. Instead, you are loving yourself because of how those very wounds and the arduous journey of healing them have expanded your capacity for profound compassion, deepened your wellspring of wisdom, and forged an incomparable depth within your soul. Your scars become constellations of resilience, telling a story of triumph. The sixth key, the recognition grace. Your person sees your journey, When you finally meet your actual soulmate, the person whose spirit resonates with yours in an undeniable, profound harmony, something far deeper and more extraordinary than simple attraction happens. This isn't just about superficial chemistry or shared interests. They don't merely love who you are, now, in this present moment of your radiant evolution. No, their love encompasses a far grander scope. They profoundly honor, respect, and cherish who you had to become to arrive at this point of meeting. They possess the spiritual sight to perceive the immense strength it took for you to heal from past wounds, the unwavering courage it demanded for you to choose yourself again and again, even when it was the loneliest path. They see the deep, hard-won wisdom you gained from walking through the searing fires of heartache, often alone, emerging stronger and more illuminated. Crucially, they don't perceive your past heartbreaks, those chapters of profound pain, as baggage to be tolerated or fixed. Instead, they recognize them as undeniable evidence of your soul's extraordinary resilience, its tenacious spirit, and its unwavering commitment to growth. Your journey becomes a testament to your depth, not a burden. The sixth and final key turns, unlocking a floodgate of grace and understanding, when you realize with absolute certainty that this extraordinary person isn't present in your life to complete you, as if you were ever an incomplete entity. They are here, with open hearts and fully present spirits, to celebrate you, to witness, admire, and rejoice in the magnificent entirety of who you have become. They harbor no desire to fix your brokenness, precisely because they possess the intuitive insight to see that you have already, through your diligent inner work, transformed that brokenness into a luminous, guiding light. Their attraction isn't to your wounds themselves, but rather to the exquisite, courageous, and beautifully tender way you have learned to tend to those wounds, to nurture yourself back to wholeness, and to emerge from the crucible of pain with profound grace and wisdom. They are drawn to the healer within you, the alchemist who turned lead into gold. This is precisely why your heartbreak, though agonizing at the time, was an absolutely necessary, divinely orchestrated part of your journey. It was the refining fire that prepared you, tempered your spirit, and honed your discernment, enabling you to recognize and receive someone who possesses the expansive capacity to love all of you, not just the easy, superficial, or comfortable parts. It prepared you for a partner who deeply understands that true depth, genuine empathy, and profound compassion don't originate from a life devoid of struggle, but rather from the courageous act of diving headfirst into the very heart of darkness, facing it squarely, and then choosing, with unwavering resolve, to swim back to the light. It prepared you for someone whose own transformative journey, their own unique passage through shadow and light, has gifted them with the profound capacity and emotional intelligence to hold sacred space for the magnificent, multifaceted, and fully integrated fullness of who you have authentically become. They are not afraid of your complexity. They are drawn to it. Here's the revelation that truly changes everything, that reframes your entire narrative and liberates your spirit. You were never truly broken, not in the way you once feared, not in the sense of being irreparably damaged or flawed. You were, in every profound and alchemical sense, being forged. Every tear you cried, a river of cleansing sorrow, was not wasted. It was watering the sacred ground of your soul, preparing it for unprecedented new growth, for a blossoming you couldn't have imagined. Every solitary night you spent in quiet contemplation, wrestling with your inner demons, or simply existing in the stillness, was profound, intimate time spent with the divine within, learning, incrementally, to recognize and differentiate a love that is pure and unconditional from one that insidiously asks you to abandon or diminish any part of yourself. Every conscious moment of healing, every act of self-compassion, every courageous step forward was meticulously preparing you for a connection so profound, so authentic, that it honors and cherishes the sacred, arduous, and beautiful work you have so valiantly undertaken. You didn't fail at love in the past, as society might label it. What truly happened is that you bravely, often painfully, outgrew relationships that were simply too small, too constricting, or too limiting to hold the ever-expanding, increasingly radiant version of you that was emerging. The heartbreak wasn't love. Leaving your life entirely. It was love in its higher wisdom, making necessary, expansive space for something exponentially greater, something your previous self, operating from old wounds and limited perceptions, couldn't possibly have recognized, much less truly received or integrated. You are not too much, too sensitive, or too complicated. These are merely the misguided judgments of those who lack the capacity to meet your depth. In truth, you are precisely the depth, the intensity, the profound compassion, and the authentic complexity that someone truly resonant and authentic is actively seeking, waiting for, and ready to cherish. The old you, operating from a place of scarcity and unfulfilled longings, attracted from a desperate, often unconscious, need for external validation or completion. The new, radiant you, having cultivated an inner wellspring of self-love and completeness, now attracts effortlessly from an abundant overflow of your own self-generated joy and wholeness. The old you, often driven by fear of loneliness or abandonment, chose partners from a place of anxiety and compromise. The new you, firmly anchored in your own truth, chooses from a place of profound inner alignment, recognizing what truly serves your highest good. The old you, perhaps swayed by fleeting infatuation or superficial connections, settled for mere chemistry, a volatile, often unsustainable spark. The new you, discerning and patient, waits for profound, undeniable resonance, a deep, harmonious, vibrational match that speaks to your very soul. This isn't about becoming harder to love or more demanding. This is about becoming, paradoxically, impossible to leave. Because when someone finally meets the real you, the beautifully forged, authentic, and sovereign being you have become, they recognize not just a partner, but a profound, undeniable sense of home. Tonight, as the day draws to a close and you prepare for rest, I invite you to engage in a powerful healing ritual. Gently place your hand upon your heart, that sacred chamber of your being, and with every breath, acknowledge this profound, liberating truth. Every single person who, in their inability or unwillingness, couldn't genuinely see your inherent worth, was, in the grand tapestry of your soul's journey, preparing you for someone who sees nothing but your worth, who marvels at your magnificence. Every goodbye that momentarily shattered your world and broke your spirit was, in truth, an act of divine mercy, making vital space for a future hello so profound, so healing, that it will mend every fragment and restore your faith. Your heartbreak was never your ending. It was, in every meaningful sense, your most powerful and sacred beginning. And the love that is steadily, unerringly, making its way to you will, in its breathtaking arrival, make every single tear you cried feel like a prayer beautifully answered, every wound deeply and completely healed, and every dark, challenging night you walked through worth every single step, guiding you finally, gloriously, to the dawn of your most authentic and cherished connection. Before you scroll, if this transmission spoke to you, don't just walk away from it, respond to it. Help carry this message further. Every act of support helps this transmission find the next starseed who needs it.